We are doing something. Hello, everybody in the street epistemology world. We are doing something unusually innovative, experimental. I'm not sure. I am sitting in the back seat of a car with Reid, who's in the front seat of the car, actually driving. So he's not watching the video. Ken really is covering up his light, though. And we are here with Libirdy, AJ, who's going to operate the actual playback so that we don't have to from the car. Today we are going to review 2 or 3 videos, 2 of which were actually produced today with Reid and I, with Mind Onion, that's Alex, in park at El Prado in San Diego. This has been our nice long day trip, and we had a wonderful day. So I'm looking forward to reviewing this video. While I was live for this first conversation, I didn't hear it very well because I was walking and talking with somebody else. So this is kind of the first time I'm hearing it, even though it happened today.
Yeah. And I'm on the way back from San Diego. Autopilot is on, but still paying attention to the road. I'll just be listening in. And,
I, however, can read. Where are you driving to or from? We're driving to Los Angeles. We're driving from San Diego. El Prado is a place where there's a bunch of museums. The museums were not open, but the walking area through the park definitely was. And there were vendors, and everybody was doing very careful distancing and masks and wiping everything down with alcohol wipes and doing just everything we can, acting as if we were contagious, and we're trying very hard to protect people. So hopefully our interventions are sufficient.
Yeah, and thanks again, AJ, for doing the tech behind the scenes here. So this is great.
Absolutely, I'm glad I could help.
Yeah, feel free to comment at any point as well. So cool, let's go to the video.
Alrighty, I'm getting it started right about now.
Cool.
That's Reid. Nice to meet you.
Hi,
What's your first name?
Giselle.
Giselle. Spell that.
Giselle.
Gotcha. All right. Do you come to the park often?
No, my family just moved to California, so.
Your family just moved to California. Wow.
Yes.
Where'd you move from?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. All right. Big change.
Yeah.
How do you like it so far?
It's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Dali and I are from Los Angeles. We just came down here to visit our friend Alex to help practice this thing called street epistemology, where it's a conversational method, a way of having a conversation to talk with people about whatever they believe and why. Let's someone pick a claim, something they think is true, and then someone else asks questions to help them understand and help the other person take a second look at how they came to believe whatever they believe and why.
Okay.
Which one of those topics would you like to talk about?
I did the police defunding one.
Should the police be defunded?
Yes.
Okay, we can talk about that. So I think, what do you mean by police and defund? What do these words mean? How should we best define them for this question?
For defunding, I believe it as not getting rid of the police, but more of the redistribution of how I guess our government is spending, or like how much money is going towards police, because like recent events with like racial inequality and stuff like that's happened.
So should we change the distribution of funds for the police?
Yes.
That's really the question we're trying to ask here.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we do that? If all the way to the right is absolutely yes, we should, or all the way to the left, white is absolutely no, we should not do that, or not sure, where would your current confidence be about that?
I'd put like 3/4 to the right. I think we should.
You have a little confidence scale there.
Oh, should I hold it up?
Sure.
Okay, I'd put like probably right here, because I think I need more education on the topic, but I think that it should be redistributed.
Cool. Yeah, what gets you to that level of confidence? What are the main reasons why?
I think with recent events that have happened, that have been happening, and that I've kind of been mainly seen now in 2020 with everything going on, I think that there's been a lot of police brutality and things that obviously need change. And I think that the system that we have right now is currently kind of corrupt, and I feel like we could redistribute our money better to help.
So what I'm hearing you say is there's an issue with police brutality,
Yes.
and our current system of policing is corrupt, and we
Yes.
need to change that by changing the way we distribute resources to them.
Yes.
Okay. What are the main reasons why we think this system is corrupt? Why do we believe that?
So I just wanted to pause real
Mhm.
quick in that kind of beginning section to point out a couple of things that I thought were really valuable, at least to highlight.
Sure.
One of the ones that I really like and that's really noticeable and that I think Reid does really well is repeating back to the person what it is that they're saying. So in this case, when they present basically what they believe, Reid was able to kind of articulate that right back to them, and then of course getting it ready to kind of ask the questions of kind of the formation of that particular belief. As a beginning type of a thing, one of the things I did notice was because obviously I think it's part of it's because of the nature of the situation, the circumstances, but it seemed like it kind of jumped right into street epistemology. There could have maybe been a little bit more rapport building in terms of like how they were there. I don't know if there was anything in the background for that. I don't necessarily know how much it affected the conversation, but that was one of the things that I kind of noticed. It kind of seemed like it jumped a little bit right in. And just as a side note, I really like the saxophone music in the back.
Yeah, we had a variety of saxophone players, and then later on we had this like opera singer. It was a very musical day there.
We're hoping that copyright strokes don't become an issue for us.
But cool, thanks.
Awesome, no problem. I'll switch it back.
And hello to Salt Lake City and Australia.
Oh,
Yes,
hi.
I'll put those up. We got Salt Lake City.
So,
And I'll play this.
What that?
I think that, well, obviously, main reason is because of, I guess, kind of the events and how, specifically with the George Floyd thing that happened in, I think that was March. I'm not too sure, but I think it was March. But everything that happened with George Floyd, how the police officer that kind of, went too far, how he kind of got off, and how then all the protests started happening and the riots and things like that. I think it was just like really kind of a wake-up call for America, yes, depending on how people take it, that we definitely need to redistribute money and kind of everything that's been happening. I feel like there's been like a lot of mentally ill people who have been had the cops called on that were people of color, and that things just kind of went out of proportion because of police brutality, where there should have been a more kind of like calm down, I guess, before the situation's just kind of escalated, and lots of people lost their life because of police brutality and just not the situation not being handled. I also think that cops and stuff need more time, more training, I guess. I think I read something where like a barber, hairdressers, like they have to do more training than police officers do in America. So
Well, like the number of hours they need to
yes.
go through in order to get to like a license.
Yeah.
Versus like a police badge.
Mhm.
Okay. Police badge.
Mhm.
Okay. So those are examples of how some police officer did a police brutality type of situation, and he so far has not been prosecuted as much as we would like to see.
Yes.
And all right, so you're currently about 3/4 of the way through. What could raise your confidence? What could make you even be more sure about this that you don't know about today that you could learn about in the future?
I think just kind of more ways that money could
Hey,
be redistributed.
just to double check, did you say pause?
yeah, I think I could have
Go ahead.
repeated that back a little bit more. I think she was, giving an example of how the police are corrupted, like with George Floyd, and so I probably could have made that more clear in my repeating back. Anyway, yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Yes, the cash cab. I haven't actually heard of that, but our favorite choice for that would be Nathan Ferguson, who's managed to do that on several hundred Lyft or Uber rides with his format of going through the 24 questions that Vin Diesel wrote.
Hopefully, we'll be able to get one of those conversations on.
Yeah,
on
he
the
hasn't
review
published
show.
any of those that I'm aware of. I'm really looking forward to them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the other things to mention as well that I liked is I like the question about what would raise your confidence a little bit more to kind of get them to kind of start seeing kind of like where they're kind of approaching it. Another thing or another question that I really like that I think, I don't know if it was mentioned by Reid or someone else, but the question of why didn't you choose a higher confidence? Like, why didn't you go even higher? Like, what could have done that?
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, I think she kind of already answered it, where she had mentioned that she might need to study it a little bit more, but that she feels this particular way. So maybe at least in this case, that is not entirely necessary, but I really think that's a great question as well.
Yeah, I like the humility.
Absolutely. Awesome. All righty.
More ways that money could be redistributed, because that an example someone brought, kind of having like mental health people be the first people to, I guess, de-escalate some situations. So I guess if I learned more about that, and if I started to agree with that, and reasonable, and that it could work, then I think 100% yes. But I think already I'm there at the yes, we need to like defund and redistribute money.
Okay. If you learn more about the process, like
Yes.
with police, what's the right term? It's like maybe with mentally ill. If you learned the police could do much better with different funds, with that type of situation, then that could raise your confidence.
Yeah.
Okay. What could even slightly lower your confidence about it? What would need to be true? What would you need to find out or learn?
I think
lower?
Probably only if, like, I guess I believed more that we're doing the right thing and that police need to be on scene first. I don't know. I don't think that there's much that could lower my confidence, because I think that knowing that a hairdresser or barber has more training than a police officer is pretty scary in America right now. So I think there isn't much that could kind of lower my confidence.
There's not much.
No.
Feel free to imagine even wildly implausible things that imagine anything you like is wildly implausible as you need to make it to make it even slightly less confident.
Okay.
What would be an example of something we could learn?
I think if redistribution of.
Can I just ask that real quick, because I noticed that in that discussion, it seemed like Reid hesitated a little bit in what he was going to ask, and I wanted to know if there was a particular thought process that was kind of going through your mind when you did that, where you had mentioned that to kind of imagine, it doesn't matter how implausible the situation might be, and then it almost seemed like you were going to offer a particular example, and then you kind of stopped. Was there a thought process or a reason kind of behind why you did that?
Like, I do want to not have to go straight to offering hypothetical disconfirmation criteria. I would love for someone to actually brainstorm something themselves, because that seems to be, the most reliable way of getting someone to rethink their view, or getting, if they come up with whatever themselves, they might, be more inclined to think more about it that way. But I think I do later on. I think I potentially give a potential example, but like maybe like if you can't think of anything plausible, then just go wildly implausible and just start thinking about it.
I'm going to try to remember that one. I really like the, if they don't have a hypothetical, ask for a wildly implausible the second time I ask. I usually, I have a standard of I want to ask twice before I offer one. I really like that for the second ask.
Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, guys. All right.
I think if redistribution of money went wrong, someone who was on the scene first, a situation where they needed police officers to be there, first.
Cool. Gotcha. Any other ways to discuss this idea about this? You mentioned we can put it in and things would go wrong. Any other ways to test this claim that we should be doing this?
For pro or con?
Any way to tell if we should go higher or lower? Or
I think over time, maybe just kind of with just kind of with events happening, that's definitely like a yes, this should happen. But
Yeah, if we continue to see the same examples of police
yes,
brutality, more videos,
yeah,
starting to doing something,
yes.
and if we saw like no more videos in the next like 5 years, would that cause any reason to be less confident about it?
I think it might, but I can't see us going like progressing. I guess kind of to like, oh, no police brutality, because I think this has been happening for a while, and I kind of wonder how many have happened now, like off video. I guess.
Yeah,
Makes
what
sense.
do we know the statistics on the prevalence of police brutality, like this year, last 10 years, last 50 years?
Not
What's
off the top of
trend?
my head, but if I were to guess, I would say it's definitely going up.
It's going up in the past like 10 years or 5 years.
Yeah, I'd say 10 years. It's going up.
And compared to like 30 years, still going up compared to then, or same or less?
I think definitely 30 years ago, I'm sure it was rougher than it is now. It might be rougher now, but I mean that probably 30 years ago, a lot of police brutality actions weren't recorded, versus now we have like technology and stuff, and I think a lot of things are starting to show, I guess.
Okay, that's cool. And any good way to figure out this data? What's the best example of figuring out this data? What's the best resource for figuring out this?
Any
information.
trustworthy sources? Anything reliable?
What's the best example you think?
I think just kind of footage is the best at this point.
Footage
Yeah.
to test the rate of police brutality,
Yeah.
like the number of happening
Sure.
per year, and that's the best way to figure out the rate of it. So if it's a problem, we need to. If the rate is high, it's a problem. We need to fix it. That's one way to figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right.
thank you so much for the conversation. Any questions for me? How's it
Well,
for you?
So I really enjoyed that
Yes, again,
conversation.
I can get another
I
piece and do another
thought it
I
was.
think it's still going.
Okay, thank you.
I can hear
Thank
it.
you so much. Have a good day.
Oh,
It looks like it looks like there was an out of syncness because in the video she took a red puzzle piece, so the video looked
There
like
might have
it
been-
ended and the audio was still running out. In any case, it was just closure report. There wasn't any further.
Okay, I think it's
I
stopped
see.
now. So
Yeah.
might have been.
yeah. Sorry about that. There might have been a delay. I don't know why.
It's all good.
But yeah, overall, I enjoyed that video. What are you guys' kind of thoughts?
I thought it was really good. Asking her, she wasn't alive 30 years ago. Now you're asking her for history. I don't think she was 30 years old.
Yeah.
So you ask her for 30 years ago. So it's like get a hold of the.
She could have
What did
known
you know
about
from
some
reading
data.
history? Yeah,
She could have known about some data potentially.
sure.
Yeah, that whole last little bit after asking about disconfirmation criteria, testability, it's like, then I just tried to go in a little bit more about the unread library, exploring the unread library,
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing. I wish I would have introduced like a second scale for the problem of police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a good way to like judge over time how much of a problem it is. If 1960 was at a certain point, what number on a 0 to 10 was 1960, 1990, 2010, 2020,
Yeah.
and how could we tell where to put that number over time? That would be an interesting way to go as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would also add.
My understanding, the 60s and 70s were a lot worse than today.
Absolutely. I would also add one of the another question that came to mind was when they were talking about the crime rates and the different crime rates between the 60s and now versus 5 years ago. One of my questions in terms of, I don't necessarily know about the feasibility, but almost a hypothetical of if you were to learn that this actually wasn't the case, that we actually have seen crime falling, or that even though there were a whole bunch of videos out there, actually we didn't have this type of police brutality that you currently think is going on, would you still hold this belief? And I think something like this might be able to kind of help better identify whether or not this is kind of the foundational belief, or whether or not there's something else kind of clinging them or attaching them to that particular belief. And if they would still believe, even if there was not that historical issue, that might have been a more interesting path to kind of go down as well.
Yeah, for sure. I saw those comments about the beers. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, today we're doing ZZ Top of SE.
Exactly.
We'll spin our microphones around on our belts.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right.
do we anything else for this other video? If not, I'll kind of get the other one primed up.
Yeah, go ahead and get that queued up.
Alright.
But yeah, that was a really nice conversation. I want to have more of those conversations about defunding the police. I want to be able to get better at doing that conversation. So hopefully I'll have more, and we'll see how it evolves over time.
Do you find that one unusually challenging?
Yeah, it's it's a very contentious issue right now, and it's very data dependent.
Yes.
And it has a lot of important implications and consequences, getting that question right. So it's important to talk about.
Yeah, that answer affects a lot of people a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Libirdy
I think
is
I got
cute.
the
There
other
you go.
video.
I think we've got that weird watch together bottom third thing happening again.
Hello, Twitch.
All right.
I hear we are live on
You're right. Let
and
me
Facebook.
see if F works.
Aha! That looks good. I
Yeah,
like
give me
that.
one moment.
YouTube. Hello, YouTube. This is
One.
Juggling
This
Lessons.
is our
I am
first
Moment.
person. I think.
with Reid,
I don't know
myself,
why it's
and Kimberly and Alex. And
here.
our
Hold on.
guest,
I'm going to mute it for a second.
Hello.
I don't know why it's. Yeah, I have it queued up on one screen, but for some reason it's not loading on the other screen. Give it 1 second.
Okay. If I remember right, we're queuing to 36 minutes on the second pass. Today, we had a sudden total blackout.
Sorry, for some reason it was
Live
freaking
stream.
out.
Yeah.
No, the second
We had
one.
a sudden total blackout because our producer's house had a power failure, so the streams went down, and so we actually had 2 shorter streams today. He got his power back in about 10 or 15 minutes.
I think this stream is at 156. That's the time code for that. But amazing what technology can do. We're streaming from the car, reviewing another stream from earlier today. That was all mobile.
I set it up there.
That looks about right. I love that spot. We'll have to go back.
Getting
maybe,
it primed up. For some reason, there's a
maybe
little bit
once
of
a
a
month.
delay.
I'm up for it. Oh, Kimberly is. I
Awesome.
hope she enjoyed herself.
Or do you have it? You have it paused and set up? Yeah. Or
156.
and just to answer the. Yep,
it's-
I should be at. We should be at 156. Can you guys see the video? Okay.
Yeah, I
Can you hear me? Okay.
Oh, Cordial
Can you hear
is Reid.
Okay.
Nice
Sorry, just
Wonder. And I'm Dali, and the other one is Andrew AJ.
Awesome. Just a double check. You guys could hear me all right, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
we
I
hear
hear
you
you.
well.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. Awesome. So I think I have it set up. It's scooted forward a little bit. Let me see if I could scoot it back just a teensy tiny bit.
You should be able to use the J and L keys, maybe, or the left and right arrow keys. Once it's in full
All
screen
right.
mode, I think. to move back in.
All right. Well,
Maybe.
I'm gonna try. I'm here. I'm gonna try it like this. Let me know if you guys could. Well, if you hear it, okay. Don't say anything. I'm gonna start it up. You guys are ready, correct?
Okay.
Any other background
What?
with this one, or are we just good to go?
No, just another
Cool.
person
All right,
talking, I
here we go.
believe, about the question: should revolution
Oh,
be
yes.
used to solve any
Yes.
problem in the U.S.?
Revolution. Yes.
Oh, very interesting. Alrighty, here we go.
Oh, yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, go back a bit.
Oh, can you hear it? Okay.
I can't hear it yet. Still muted.
All right, give me one moment.
Some
Try
questions.
to,
Yeah,
try to go back around
Or, you know,
156.
or get clarity on what they mean by
No
the
problem.
claim and what the words mean.
Yeah, I think it starts right at about. We're gonna start it. I think right at the back of here. Yeah, 156.40. I think. All right. Let me know. Make sure you could hear this audio. Okay.
Okay.
Clarity
I'll give
on
you a
what they
thumbs
mean
up
by
if
the
I can
claim
hear it.
and what the claim
Yep.
and what the words mean in the claim.
All right.
Claim, specific claim, and
All
the
right.
reason. If you want, we can explore the quality of the reasons and how we could test this claim, how we could change our confidence.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's basically how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, revolution sounds pretty intense. Like when you think of revolution, you think and like, you know, people are dying. That's kind of the goal, is that certain people die,
Yeah.
right?
I only put that question on there because of the past few months, and it's just been getting a little. Some people are saying up to this point, we need like a revolution to solve some problem. I kept it vague and open.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, it's. I'm
some revolution to solve some problem. I kept it vague and open.
Yeah.
So
Not. I mean, I think guns are fun to shoot. But I mean, you get these people who are against tyrannical governments, and then whatever they want to define that as, Jim Bob Jones in Arkansas isn't going to the U.S. military, who's got like drones and tanks. Like, I mean, I guess it's a bit of a stretch to think that the military would go to such far aggressive tactics against their own civilians. But what do you expect?
yeah, is that what revolution means to you? At least some meaning of it, where the government itself tries to change itself, and they have the military. Is that the revolution you're thinking of?
Well, when I think revolution, I'm thinking like people. It's a hopefully a what do they call that? A grassroots movement.
Grassroots.
Hopefully it's
regular
not a coup.
citizens.
Yeah.
uprising.
Regular citizens bringing it up. No matter what happens, the rate that our country's discord is going at, I don't think that any one of these groups is going to just start a revolution or start serious rioting. Like, people say that, oh, it's rioting going on, and I guess technically that's the definition, but it's not. Like, they're not dragging people out of the
So now we know what revolution means.
Yeah.
For the question, I think,
Right.
Is revolution required to solve any problem in the U.S. right now? Where would you put your current confidence about that? If all the way to the left is absolutely no, or all the way to the right is absolutely yes?
Yeah, I'm
or
probably
not sure, or anywhere in between.
Probably not too sure. I mean, it would solve like if there's a revolution and there's a possibility that it could succeed, I guess. But it's solving the issue in a way that frat guy party, like just punching the guy in the face to stop the verbal argument. You're solving the problem like we solved World War II we solved World War II by nuking two cities. Like, it's not the best. It's not the best method.
Not the ideal method
No.
for solving the problem.
Yeah.
What problem is on the table that needs a revolution to solve it, do you think?
I wouldn't recommend a revolution to solve any problem, but I mean, if you think of what other people might think of as problems for revolution,
what's like the top
probably
or one?
Probably racial equality. Police
brutality.
Police brutality. Yeah. It seems like that's something that people would. I mean, we've seen people come to the streets pretty hard for that.
Yeah.
Already, likely the biggest protest we've seen in history, and so, if anything's going to start escalating, it's probably going to.
Is that true?
Police brutality issue.
Yeah, or the other people who are counter-protesting
from
that. Yeah, and that seems like a sticky situation. I don't think those people are really. It's hard to get some people to agree with another person's opinion, or at least allow it to happen when they're crossing state borders with an AR-15 that they're not even supposed to have. Like, at that point, that person is probably not going to listen to too much reason.
Okay, so
shooting my messenger, shooting my messenger.
Let's translate the question into: is revolution required to solve
What
police
would
brutality?
you want to say?
Same
No.
confidence?
Not
Which messenger are you trying to shoot?
No.
Not required.
No, I don't think anything is. I don't think anything really just in the U.S. I don't. Revolution.
Go ahead,
Seems
Dali.
like a bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
What's your main
there
reason
was
for
so
that?
much there. I
Yes.
was shooting my messenger.
Throwing all the capitalists
Didn't
under the
cross
guillotine
the
might
state
solve all the
lines
economic
with an
issues, but you're still
AR-15. The one he
essentially
had
revolution
was given by
requires
somebody
death of a
else,
certain group, to a
and
certain
so
extent.
on and so on.
Ethical
He's
principle,
just
too.
got a
That's-
whole bunch of things that materially are incorrect in his position, and it's just a good example of the conversation's going to go a lot better if you don't bite that meat. It's tempting. It's so tempting. But
Yeah, he's kind of all over the place with this question, and I really wanted to kind of nail it down to which problem would a revolution potentially be, on the table for trying to solve. And I think he picked police brutality, and I was going into more about examples I think of that. So I'm just trying to listen here and hear him out, and then try to get more concrete reasons, hopefully soon.
Absolutely. One other thing I wanted to add too is, since this is my first time watching this, I'm not really sure the direction that you take it. But one of the things that I kind of see is the question being a little bit specific about, is like a revolution necessary right now in the U.S.? I don't have the exact question in front of me, but that kind of seems to be the gist of it.
Problem.
To solve any problem
in the U.S.
Yeah, required to solve any problem. And it seemed like when, at least on the scale, they were a relatively low degree of confidence. And it seems like that could be a good opportunity to kind of do the inverse of the question. So it seems like if they would have a relatively high degree of confidence that there should not be, or that revolution isn't required for it to address any of the current problems right now. Why did they come to that conclusion? How did they determine that was the case? That might also be another thing that would be worth maybe exploring as well.
Cool. So we'll see what happens.
Awesome.
Principle to go
Yeah,
by.
I guess that's putting it much better. Yeah, than I
I
could.
just want to make sure I'm hearing what.
Yeah.
Can I go back a minute?
Yeah, no, well, required, not at all. I mean,
Not at all.
it's negative. I don't even know. Yeah.
And your reason for that is it's like a means to an end is not a good principle to go by. Any other reasons?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
I think
Go back
you
a
can
minute.
use the keys. Yeah. Whatever you need to do.
Oh, sorry, I'm doing two different computers. Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
All right, this should work.
Because it's a means to an end is not a good principle to go by. Any other
Is it back?
No, it's just, I mean, I don't think that the argument
that's
really
fine.
needs to go past that, past I mean, once you've got that, you know, like we think, why is murder wrong?
Sorry, I'm reversing it for you. I think this is working. Sorry, it didn't look like it skipped back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me see if this works.
It's wrong morally, you know.
No, that's not. Let me try this.
At that point, that person is probably not going to listen to too much reason.
Okay, so now we have a problem, a specific problem.
All right, I think it's. Sorry about that. I just had to sync it up. I should be good.
Good job.
All right, I'm going to start it again. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Usually, once it's like, oh, is this right or wrong? I don't think, you know, there's not too much more to think about there.
Uh-oh. Give it
I
a
don't
second.
think anything really just in the U.S. I don't think there are any problems in the U.S. that require revolution. That seems like a bit of a stretch. Like maybe you can solve the issue that way, but I don't think you should
What's your main reason for that? Just to make it obvious.
that way, but I don't think you should.
What's your main reason for that? Just to make it obvious.
It's I mean, yes, throwing all the capitalists under the guillotine might solve all of our economic essentially. Revolution requires the death of a certain group to a certain
Say is a means to an end. Is
much better. Yeah, than I could.
I just want to make sure I'm hearing what
Yeah.
you say right. So, same confidence for that required for police brutality? To
Yeah,
solving
no,
that?
well, required, not at all. I mean,
Not at all.
Negative. I don't even know. Yeah.
And your reason for that is it's like a means to an end is not a good principle to go by. Any other reasons?
No, it's just, I mean, I don't think that the argument really needs to go past that. I mean, once you've got that, you know, like we think, why is murder wrong? Well, it's wrong morally, you know. I don't think the you know, my thought process doesn't go past that usually. Once it's like, oh, is this right or wrong? I don't think, you know, there's not too much more to think about there.
Gotcha. Hypothetically, what could raise our confidence about it? What would need to be the case, even like the far out
for revolution to happen?
Yeah. For us to raise our confidence about police brutality, how bad would police brutality have to be in order for us to be a little bit more confident about potentially using a revolution to fix that problem?
I mean, geez, it's pretty bad. Of course, things could always get worse, but I mean, I could see the rate of how things are going now just continuing for another decade or two, and people might eventually get really sick of it. We might have some, you know, I don't think that it's likely that there's going to be like an armed group that's going to plan on bombing certain like police stations or something. I don't think, or you know, just armed revolution. I don't think there is likely to be a, you know, large group, maybe a small group of terrorists, which they technically would be at that point, might pop up, but I see it more of like if it continues to have to be like lone scenario. But if things get worse, I could see it possibly popping into people's heads. I'm sure it's popping into people's heads now. I'm sure people are thinking, I'm sure there are plenty of people who would have seen that and said, yeah, we definitely need a revolution to stop police brutality. It just depends on who you are. Yeah.
Okay. So you're currently at the bottom of the confidence for that?
Yeah, for it requiring it, I'm going to say a no.
What would you need to see to raise your confidence even slightly up a little bit?
Trying again.
The case.
Oh, for me to justify a revolution?
Yeah, even like just being at 1%, not like 0%.
Yeah, I guess if it got any worse, I mean, we're seeing unarmed shootings, completely unjustifiable unarmed shootings.
If we had one of those like once a week or
I mean,
once a day,
I'm sure if you told me even the facts about how often it's happening, I'm sure it would
I have
both.
no idea. What the
Yeah,
stats
no,
are.
I get that. But if someone told me that what it was, I'm sure it would both surprise me and I'd also say, yeah, okay, that sounds about right, based off how much of we hear it. I mean, the what do they when there were the protests and we had unbadged, unnumbered agents, pulling people off the streets in vans, not properly arresting them, open their eyes to the degradation of the American values and such. But I guess that wasn't enough. So I mean, for me personally, if that became a regular, the idea that America is slipping into its own brand of fascism,
it would just need to be a lot worse. More police brutality, more
Yeah,
often, in more cases,
yeah.
in more places.
At a certain point, even if it got that bad, I'm sure I'd still, half of me would think that, yeah, it's required, but then the other half, it's a heavy decision
Yeah, that's like
to start a revolution.
Revolution seems to be like the last resort.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Was that sending a
So-
message?
Now we have a whole other topic of like how to solve police brutality.
Hmm.
We don't have to go there. Any other thoughts about this question about revolution being required to solve any problem like police brutality?
Oh, I mean, you usually see revolutions, we think of like ours, which, to be fair, is probably a lot worse now than it was when we were under British control. Like they revolted based off of
What?
no representation in Parliament and taxation. Like we have places that we don't represent properly in our legislature, and I'm
You
sure
wanna
there are
add
plenty
to
of
Shooting a
reasons
few
for,
messengers there.
so I can comment to
Can you clarify a little bit
slave
more?
revolts and the Russian Revolution.
Sorry.
Yeah, they seem like last
Do you
resort.
wanna
I'm
clarify a little
not
bit
sure
more,
that
or-
we're there yet? Our
I still hear it on my
is
end.
pretty.
Oh, I don't know
Now
why.
it stopped.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
I
was
don't know
just
why
saying.
there's a delay.
What did you hear about me to comment on?
Well, I heard
About the
one of the parts I heard was the what. I think you said what on one of them, and I think before that, I think you said is it or something like that.
yeah, I think you made a few
Is that the
claims there that the U.S. is like now even under like it's worse than it's ever been in terms of needing a revolution. I think for the U.S. Even for like British colonial rule. I think that's what I said. What about?
Wow.
So yeah, that was my what, and then something about
Pre-Civil War and everything?
yeah, even pre Civil War. What else? I forgot what else he said. But yeah, interesting.
No worries. Awesome. Another question that I have in mind, and again, I'm not sure what kind of direction you take it moving forward a little bit, but another thing that kind of came into mind was, given the fact that they, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, but given the fact that they currently don't really have any confidence that a revolution is required to solve any of these issues, I would be interested in probably exploring a little bit more about how they came to that position. Like, what was it in the first place? Was it kind of like what amount of what was their method essentially in kind of coming to that conclusion to begin with? It seemed like they talk a little bit about, well, it's wrong morally and these types of things, but to maybe just kind of see a little bit more of that journey that kind of led them to that might be interesting to explore.
Yeah, probably could have explored morally wrong how, like which value is he using to judge this? Is it like harm or what else? That'd be an interesting road to go down.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I keep
Sure.
falling.
Alrighty.
I don't know that I'm just reading that book recently, but I keep falling back to that list of 6 Jonathan Haidt moral foundations.
Absolutely. Awesome. Alrighty.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
think
start it
we'll
up.
wrap it up. Yeah, it's just maybe one more minute, I think.
Oh, cool. Alrighty.
Our cost of living, but our living standard is we do have good medical care, and we do have it's not that bad for a lot of people, to the point where they can point the finger at one thing definitely. Oh.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's our topic about that.
All right.
Thank you so much for the conversation.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll be here all day. And we might be back at some point.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll set up.
Oh, really?
We
Okay.
just stopped by to help our friend out to do it in person today.
That's cool. All right.
And we have a bunch of places where we live stream this. Feel free to take a card, and
Yeah,
we usually offer one of these little puzzle pieces for people to come back and have more conversations. But
Yeah,
most
no.
likely won't be here for at least a month or so.
Oh, okay.
But I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Yeah,
day.
thank you. I'm going to get that.
All right. I have it paused on my end, but I think there's a delay. So tell me when
Okay.
it pauses.
Pause
on
too.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just didn't know. Awesome.
Good.
Yeah, another topic I want to get better at having conversations about. Seems to be a very consequential and topical topic.
Yeah. War is a tough one. Internal, external. Oh, it's always very tough for me. I have to shoot my messengers really hard because I'm kind of passionately anti-war.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would just kind of to reiterate when it comes to kind of a lot of the beliefs about not being required for a revolution to address any of these types of things. I'd be kind of curious to not just in terms of it being wrong and like exploring the moral foundations, but also just kind of better understanding how they kind of came to that position, because it seemed like in some ways they might have maybe said it, like it seemed like they're talking about slavery or something. There could be certain cases where it might be justified and not justified. So to kind of explore a little bit about how they determined that it wasn't currently justified in this particular case, again, might be something to that could have been explored.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of options here, and I really like the choice Reid had in terms of the pacing and the ending time.
Yes,
there was
that's very true.
a lot that could have extended it if there was a desire to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, at one point we switched, like the topic of police brutality and how much of a problem it is came up. And I could have gone down that road, but I asked him if he wanted to go down that road, like switch topics to that topic. Because that seems to be, if that's the number one issue that could potentially lead to needing a revolution, then if that's not actually a big problem, then the revolution is a moot point. So I could have gone that road, but he didn't want to, I guess.
Sure, that makes sense. And it's always good to kind of follow them and kind of work with them.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I definitely want to stay on topic to whatever the original question was, rather than going to topic to topic to topic and just explaining what a topic is and then moving on to another topic. It's good to drill down on reasons and methods for one topic, one discussion question.
That makes sense. So what was that like? Because it seems like it's normally, and it kind of seems like when they were on the opposite end, it seemed like you were able to kind of maneuver it relatively easily. But it seems like for a lot of the idea or a lot of the claims, they tend to be on like really strong confidence type claims. And at least in this case, it seemed to be on the negative as opposed to the positive. Did you see kind of any difference in anything like that when you kind of went and were kind of going through the process?
Difference in terms of like dogmatism or just the reasons why?
Yeah, maybe a little bit more of the reasons why, or just the approach in terms of like framing some of the questions to get at like the confidence levels, or to kind of figure out the defeasibility, or kind of what it would take to move them, or how they could kind of go about kind of addressing this or looking into this further.
Not really. I mean, it's like a yes or a no. It doesn't really depend on whether it's a yes or no. It's just you still ask the same types of questions. I think I tried to ask, what would raise his confidence from 0 to like a 1, like a disconfirmation criteria, even slightly. And I think we tried to brainstorm things there, and I think we came up with some things. So it's pretty much the same.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I think we're getting close to an hour.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about that conversation? Where would you guys go with that?
Oh gosh. I'd like to say I went right where you did, because I like where you did it. I don't think I have any questions that you asked. Maybe I said that wrong. I don't think I have any questions you didn't ask.
Yeah, and I would like. I really like the road that you went down as well. Like I said, one of the questions that popped up into my mind was just kind of a little bit more about that process of coming to that position in the first place. It seemed like they were really strongly one way. It seemed like it was that they had that kind of initial moral belief, but to kind of explore a little bit of, it seems like even though they have that belief, there could be situations where it would be okay, and just to kind of better understand why they currently don't think we are in a situation like that, even though there are people who do think that we are, and to kind of reconcile that a little bit, I think would have been helpful, or probably at least would have been the way that I would have gone down.
Yeah. Good stuff. Any other comments from the crowd?
Not recently. I'd like to answer Soldier of Science. I do agree that Anthony, Reid, and Ty, that's Tyrone, not Tyler, are my 3 favorite most advanced SE practitioners.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I would also add the the next question right after. When it comes to arguments, I wouldn't necessarily classify or label a lot of this as arguments per se. Maybe a little bit more of an approach, or kind of something along those lines. But I don't necessarily know if I would frame it as arguments.
It's like a line of inquiry. That's how I think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. And no gas in this car, Ivana.
Yeah, someone had asked.
Yeah, just before we left, we were getting all the tech set up at a supercharger, and we're all charged up.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Cool.
Does anyone else in the comments anything to add, or I'm not seeing anything?
Good. Well, I'm proud of us for keeping the streak alive for one, video review stream every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is our 4th in a row or something.
I think so.
So yeah, we're going to try to keep doing this thing, and
even if we're on the road.
even if we're on the road.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's possible.
It's nuts what we can do in 2020.
So amazing.
Love it. Yeah, thanks
Awesome.
again, AJ, for helping us out. And be sure to check out all the Street Epistemology community resources. My favorite is the Discord. Be sure to check us out there.
Yes.
Yeah,
thank
join
you
us
so
on
much
the
for
SE
having me.
Discord, and you too can learn to epistemologize with the best.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, close us out, Dali.
All right.
Okay. Thank you for coming to this video review and analysis. Thank you, Libirdy, for hosting this this process so that we could have somebody who's not on mobile doing the thing. Thank you, Reid, for driving. Thank you, Kimberly, for helping so much in the process. Kimberly, you'll see in the videos. She hasn't decided to get on camera mostly, but she's been hugely instrumental in this process. We love you all. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right,
Take care.
Later.